Hello friends, we're back. Grab your beverage of choice. We are cheersing today. Hope you're having a great day. You know the drill, I'm with water. Always. There's actually no lemon in this water today. That's weird. That's very weird for me. I feel really bad for teachers who have to deal with entitled parents. That would be so hard. Being a teacher is hard enough, you know, dealing with kids. But sometimes it's the parents that are the problem. A parent called the principal to complain that I wouldn't schedule a conference on the most convenient day for him because he was very busy and an important executive and had limited time to spend at school. The day he requested was Thanksgiving. The principal told him that wasn't going to happen and to try to rearrange his schedule. First of all, they're probably not even open on a Thanksgiving holiday, so no, the school doors are literally locked and I'll be at home eating some frickin' turkey and cranberries. Nice try, executive. We were holding a 504 meeting. I don't know what that means. For a middle school student with significant behavior issues, his father blamed the school for his son's behavior and said it was our fault because we wouldn't let his son walk home during lunch for his smoke break. The father wanted accommodation written into his 13-year-old son's 504 plan that his son would be allowed to go home to smoke weed, 13, because that would help with his behavior. Obviously, that accommodation was not put into place. Obviously. I'll be damned. I feel like that's gonna have a lot of opinions and debate in the comments. I want to hear everybody's thoughts on this. I do. I want to know people's opinions. 13 years old and the parent is encouraging and allowing and trying to demand this for the kid at 13. Smoking up. Some people truly believe that that can do a lot medically, mental health, physical health. It makes a difference. So I'm just curious what people are about to say about this. I taught middle and high school at a private sports academy. Ooh, fancy. And had a constant stream of entitled students and parents. Lucky you. My patients could never. This one that takes the cake is absolutely the time that a parent insisted it was my fault that her middle schooler plagiarized a project. Well, of course, it wouldn't be their fault. Her reasoning? Because I hadn't required a rough draft. Mind you, this was a project in place of a unit test and I was generous and only failed him on the subsections that were cut/pasted from Wikipedia while giving credit for all the other pieces of the project. That is nice of you. And to make matters worse, my administration backed her up. They forced me to allow the student to resubmit, only to have him plagiarize again. When my administration made me give him a third chance, I knew I was done teaching. I loved most of my students more than I can explain, but I couldn't handle the baloney and horrible pay. Yeah, at that point, it's like, I'm not even teaching here. If I'm allowing this child to continue to plagiarize, he's not even learning the lesson. What's the freaking point? I'm trying to teach. I'm trying to do my job. Let me do my job. A parent caused a huge fuss with the district until all four of her children were tested and qualified for special ed services. I say qualified because they were all in fact not qualified. She wouldn't take no for an answer and even brought in a lawyer. The district finally gave in and tested them again, and lo and behold, they, quotations, qualified. I found out later that when you have a child in special ed, the parent can get an SSI check for them from the government. There were other run-ins with this parent over several years. I knew whenever she was in the office because she was always yelling and she had a distinct voice. It got to the point where I would start panicking whenever I heard her come in. That would suck. No one wants any job where you have like high-strung anxiety over someone else because you know that they're gonna cause issues, they're gonna ruin your freaking day. Not a good time. Not a good time. My couch is making a farting sound. One year I was using the Remind app, which is a text messaging without using your phone number, to communicate with parents. One mom would text me often, wanting phone numbers of families to set up play dates. When I informed her due to HIPAA that I couldn't give personal information out, she proceeded to tell me to set play dates up on her child's behalf. No, thank you. I passed along her number to the requested families instead. She would get upset, saying that I wasn't doing my job because nobody was calling her for play dates. The last straw was when I informed parents via email that I was going to be out for 2 weeks due to emergency surgery, but that I had a wonderful substitute teacher lined up for the class. Knowing I was in the hospital, she would text me often via Remind and let me know how horrible her son's experience was at school due to the substitute teacher. She told me to hurry back. I deleted Remind that day. Yeah, I bet there's so many pros to something like that, but also how many cons there would be. Because once you're off the clock, like, you don't want to just be taking that home with you all the time. You got a life outside of this, you know? I am a 3rd grade teacher. I once had a student who had a lot of behavioral issues, including mocking classmates, interrupting discussions not involving him, and temper tantrums. His parents acknowledged his misbehavior, saying it mirrored what they saw at home. Okay, see, honesty, it goes a long way. They wanted to observe how I handled their son in class in hopes of gaining some pointers to help them at home. The only thing is, they did not want their son to know they were in class to observe him. They suggested I move bookshelves away from the wall to make a hiding place for them. Because nobody would notice moved bookshelves. Yeah. As they lined up a few other requests regarding the seating in the hiding place and their need for breaks, they realized on their own that this scenario was never going to work. No, that's not gonna work. But I feel like the teacher can still share her tips with what she does in the classroom. Like, you can still give pointers, even if you can't go in and watch them. But that's interesting. Interesting approach. I'm happy the parents genuinely wanted like an improvement though. Like, I get they're asking for a lot, but I think their intention seems good. My first year teaching was at a very affluent private Christian school. As such, entitlement was rampant. All caps. They really mean it. One day, I had one of my 6th grade male students come to class incredibly upset. I pulled him aside before the bell rang to ask him what was wrong, and he said that at lunch, a female classmate had mocked his ADHD and told his table of friends that he was off his meds that day. So he would be bouncing off the walls and would probably get the class in trouble. His class was a rambunctious one, but essentially his fear was that if his class wasn't on their best behavior and, say, for example, lost recess privileges, all his friends would blame him. So this poor kid was incredibly anxious about his behavior and not getting his class in trouble. Oh, that's way too much pressure to put on a frickin' child. Making fun of a diagnosed learning disability is obviously no laughing matter. But since I didn't overhear the actual conversation, I didn't want to level any false accusations, so I chose to just observe the class's behavior. Sure enough, there was snickering, pointing at the boy, blaming him when the class got loud, etc. Under the advice of my partner teacher, I pulled the girl in question aside later during recess and asked her for her version of the story. She seemed confused, as if she had no idea what I was talking about, so I decided to talk to some other students, including her twin sister, whom she was incredibly close to. All the other students, including her sister, corroborated the boy's story. Her sister even went as far as to say that she warned her twin that she was being mean to the boy. Girl, even your twin sister is throwing you under the bus because she knows what you're doing is wrong. Despite all this, since I didn't overhear the conversation myself, I didn't want to punish the girl based on student hearsay. Instead, I addressed the class as a whole and talked to them about the weight of our words and how even an innocent comment can sometimes be hurtful. I didn't use a single student's name, nor did I specifically mention the event from lunch. It was just a general conversation about kindness and choosing our words wisely. Why do I feel like the girl's mom is about to get involved in this? I'm feeling it. I'm sensing what's gonna happen. That night I got a nasty phone call, from the father of the twin girls, telling me that I shamed his daughter and falsely accused her of mocking a student's illness. He said his daughter was so embarrassed and felt bullied by me and targeted in class. He then proceeded to write me a long email with my principal CC'd on it, accusing me of bullying his daughter and flat out saying that I must have been bullied as a child and was taking out my pent-up trauma on his innocent child. He said I was a joke of an educator and a toxic influence in my classroom. The only thing toxic is your child, who's actually the school bully, sir. My principal called me into the office the next morning and allowed me to share the events that had transpired from my perspective. My partner teacher corroborated my version and insisted I had done nothing wrong. Despite all this, the principal told me I needed to fall on my sword and apologize to the girl and the father, since he was the school's largest donor. No, absolutely not. Because then you are condoning bullying as a school, as a principal, as a teacher. I would let the father know, I'm sorry, you seem to be confused because your daughter is actually the one bullying, not me. No parent ever wants to admit that their child is the school bully. Let's be real. No parent will ever admit it. Nope, they won't, even if it's true. They don't want to admit it because they're like, oh, my child? No way, they could never do that. They can. Because there's bullies out there and they have parents. Yo, I gotta put you on. Brown lip oil. Weird, right? Like I was like, do I really want brown lip oil? It doesn't like, hold on. There's a mirror next to me, I need it. It's like a really pretty color. I never thought I'd put brown on my lips ever, but it's like very subtle. Anyways, I'm a band director and we help beginners select their instruments. We hosted a band drive for the parents to come buy the instruments. A mom came in with her son who had been playing trumpet and was clearly upset. She said she didn't want him playing an instrument that loud in her house and then refused to listen when I discussed options for practicing. Her son suggested the flute, and she immediately snapped back, absolutely not. That is a girl instrument. It's a piece of metal. What about that makes it male, female? Like, what are you talking about? It's a metal tube with holes. I hate people. I mentioned that many/most professional flutists, I didn't even know that was a word, are male. And she responded, you know, I'm old. You're not going to change my mind. There are boy instruments and there are girl instruments. I'm gay. Then she made the mistake of asking what instrument I played. I am a percussionist. I'm a girl who plays a boy instrument. So annoying. I played flute. I loved the flute and I was good at the flute. I think I still remember how to play the typical hot cross buns. Yeah, it was flute, baby. And I loved it. I had a great time. I wonder where my flute... Oh, I think I brought it back because I didn't stick with this, obviously. I remember you could return it at the end of the year and they would like sell it again. They would obviously professionally clean it and then they would sell it again as like a used instrument. Anyways, let me know what you guys played. If you had band, in elementary school we had like a band and you had to take one class and then some people like to actually be in the band, but I chose flute as the instrument that I learned. Let me know what instrument you guys played. Okay, I'm getting out of here. Stay classy out there. Stay classy and I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, hello.